Welcome to Murder and Lattes. My name's Rachel, and I want to thank you for joining me today on my very first episode. I'm really excited to get this started. I never really thought that it would actually happen, but here we are. I'm just very interested in true crime, and I'm sure you are too, which is why you're here with me. And I also figured that I'd probably be drinking lattes while I tell you a story, so here I am with my Mrs. Mug today, and I am drinking 100% Kona coffee. If you didn't know, Kona coffee is from Maui, and I honestly was expecting a little bit more out of it. I don't drink black coffee straight up. I definitely add some flavorings to it, but it's very good. It's just not all the hype that I thought it was. So would I drink it again? Yes, absolutely, but I don't think I'd go out of my way for it. Before I get into this story, I also wanted to mention that I would appreciate if you're going to be commenting that you wouldn't leave any judgmental comments towards victims or even potential victims. It's just not necessary, it's not kind, and it doesn't benefit anyone. So it's not our place to judge anybody, so let's just leave it out. Alright, so this is a strange one today, mainly because it involves a large group of teenage girls. We don't often see crimes committed by girls, especially girls so young. In fact, I did a little bit of research, and males accounted for 80% of all youth arrests for violent crimes in 2020, and each year since 2000, youths accounted for less than 10% of all murder arrests. So this is truly a rare one today. Moving on with our story, around 12:15 a.m. on December 18th, 2022, a Toronto man named Ken Lee was attacked by 8 teenage girls. Ken was a 59-year-old immigrant from Hong Kong, and he had been living in a homeless shelter in Toronto during the time of the attack. Later, in a GoFundMe post, a family member stated that Ken experienced some bad luck last fall, and so he left home determined to get his life back on track. Shortly after midnight that Sunday, a woman who also lived at the homeless shelter was outside smoking a cigarette with Ken. We'll call this lady Wanda just so that we have a name for the story. We don't know her name, and she's also part of a vulnerable community, so the police aren't going to release that, thankfully. But I feel like Wanda is an uncommon enough name, so we'll just go with that for now. So Wanda and Ken were outside a plaza near Toronto's main train station, Union Station, not far from a homeless shelter, when a group of 8 girls approached them and allegedly attempted to take a bottle of alcohol from Wanda. She said Ken told the girls to leave them alone, and that's when the girls proceeded to punch Ken repeatedly. Wanda said she was afraid, so she walked away, and one of the girls followed her. She also said she saw lots of blood and didn't know whether or not they had a weapon. Bystanders flagged down first responders, and Ken was taken to hospital, but sadly he died of his injuries, which involved stab wounds. Police later reported that they found a number of weapons on the girls. So, who are these teenage girls? Well, they're teenagers, so we don't have a lot of information on them due to their identities being protected, but what we do know is that there were 3 13-year-old girls, 3 14-year-olds, and 2 16-year-olds. And apparently they met through social media and came from various parts around the city. In fact, this could have been the very first night that they actually met in person. And before they attacked Ken, they were also allegedly involved in other criminal activity that night. It was reported that 3 of the girls had prior interactions with the police as well. All 8 girls were arrested and charged with second-degree murder. At the time that I did research on the story, it was reported that one of the girls was granted bail last month and allowed to return to school, while the others awaited hearings. One investigator said he wouldn't describe the girls as a gang, but he did describe the attack as a swarming. So, if you're like me and didn't really know what swarming meant, well, I looked it up for both of us. Swarming is when multiple attackers target a victim simultaneously and from all around. So think of it kind of like bees swarming, just coming together and just attacking from all angles. Not that bees attack, but just a group of people coming together and attacking from all different sides. And that's essentially what happened this night. Apparently in the past, swarming was common among teenage boys who were trying to steal like Air Jordan shoes or other expensive items from innocent people. So police are also asking victims to come forward after reports that the teenage girls randomly assaulted several other people at 5 downtown subway stations on the same night that Ken was attacked. I took this kind of as just a wrong place, wrong time thing. Ken was by Union Station, and these girls were going from station to station, it sounded like, just really up to no good. So it's really unfortunate that he had to lose his life that night, especially because he was trying to protect a friend. And all these girls wanted was a bottle of alcohol. I mean, I definitely think that they were just they wanted trouble. So I think that whether Ken and Wanda gave them the alcohol or not, I think that it still wouldn't have gone very well. If you have any thoughts about this story, I'd love to hear them in the comments. And if you have any thoughts on any other stories that you'd like me to do, I would love to read that as well. So thank you for joining me today on my very first episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and we'll see where this takes us.